Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Columbus Day. Today is like a holiday. Yet, the markets are open. I think it's like the only holiday where markets are open. But welcome to a new week. Welcome to a market stream. Let's talk about, again, what to expect this week after the disastrous weekend. Are we ready to pump now that we dumped? Let's talk about it. All right, let's do this, guys. Welcome. We are starting out today 115.3. Not bad, not great, but certainly better than this. We fell down to 107, okay, with that nasty drop that we saw on Friday, right after market bell, right? And BTC didn't do all that bad, but you look at like BNB fell down to 860. ETH fell down to 3506. Sol actually went down even more after that to 172. Sui went down to, look at this, 199. That was from $3. And XRP went down to 176. But you know what? Smart money, smart investors bought the dip. While the panicked people and the dumb money, I hate to say it, sold. Panic sold. Usually that never ends well, right? So we'll see what today brings, but things certainly turned around after Trump says, you know what, don't worry about China. You know, my tweet about 100% tariffs, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. I think Trump knew that today would be very, very, very red had he not said something. But yeah, for the most part right now, you can see almost everything is in green. So we'll see if it continues, okay? But yeah, it's almost like, yeah, on Friday too, the U.S. market wasn't doing well. It had a pretty nasty profit-taking day or sell-off day. Today, we may see a full recovery. I don't know. We're at least halfway. So, yeah, so that's the situation. People are still waiting to hear if, more will be shared this week between U.S. and China in terms of this, whatever they're negotiating right now. Seems like it's kind of silly that, they would negotiate over TikTok first before like rare earth minerals, right? Like the order of things or the important of things don't really make a whole lot of sense, but it is what it is. Both sides are playing their games and trying to get the best deal. That's really it. And Trump also says that the war is over in the Middle East. People asked them, well, right now they negotiate like a hostage, like release and swap. And when people asked Trump if the war was over, he just said yes. So this is good for markets. If this is true and both sides are done, well, this is definitely good for markets, right? No one wants to see war break out. No one wants to see war continue. The next one, obviously, is the Ukraine-Russia war, which is taking a lot longer than people expected, but we'll see. There's not any more like macro stuff this week, right? The beige book comes out, and everything because of the shutdown, the government shutdown is still like not being released. So this week is really going to be about geopolitical stuff, right? And we'll see how that goes. All right, now moving back to Bitcoin, the ETF inflow on Friday. Well, everyone sold except BlackRock. BlackRock took in, see, this is how you could tell that BlackRock is doing something different than all the other ETF fund makers, okay, or fund issuers. This is why I always say BlackRock itself is buying, because, you know, on a panic day like Friday, it makes sense. If everyone's selling, all the funds would be in red, but it doesn't quite make sense that BlackRock is still deep in the positive while everyone's red, right? So yes, I mean, Friday night yesterday is a clear example of that. On the Ethereum side, all cross, all red. So Ethereum obviously did not do that well, but it could certainly flip around this week depending on how, you know, this week shapes out. We'll see. But you know what? BlackRock's IBIT is poised to be the fastest 100 billion AUM fund ever in history. And that's because Larry Fink and company and Rick Ryder is being considered for the new Fed chair position. But Larry Fink, he is a big Bitcoin bull now. Okay, now whether or not he truly believes that, or he just truly believes that BlackRock needs to dominate a new asset class like Bitcoin, we don't know, right? But BlackRock has been going all in. They've been doing presentations for their investors, and they're, you know, Larry Fink's been doing a lot of interviews saying that he calls Bitcoin a safe haven and in many ways better than gold. He's going all out, guys. He's like the biggest endorser outside of Saylor. So, yeah, they're accumulating. Long term, not so sure that their ETFs acquiring so much Bitcoin is a good thing. But right now, they're definitely them and MicroStrategy are leading the way. Speaking of MicroStrategy, Saylor finally bought some. Last week they skipped. This week he bought 27 million, which is a small amount compared to what we're normally used to from him. But that's because he wasn't able to sell a lot of stock last week, I think. You know, right now all these as he's listed, Strike, Strife, Stride, and I don't know what this one is, but like basically his strategy, unfortunately, is just sell off stock on all 5 of his companies every week, and whatever he sells, he uses the proceeds to buy more Bitcoin, right? So unfortunately, that's been like that for a while. So if the stock market does really well and he's able to sell more shares, then he's going to buy more Bitcoin. So it's kind of like his way of doing leverage, so to speak. Although he says he can never get liquidated, which is interesting. So even if Bitcoin falls like 50%, he's like, I don't know. I don't have to worry about selling. I don't know how that works, but he's figured it out. In an interview with Jordan Peterson, he said basically he figured all this out by chatting with OpenAI, with ChatGPT. He just sat down on weekends and ran ideas with ChatGPT, and this is the first of its kind in history. And that's due to AI and brainstorming with AI, which is kind of crazy. All right, who else bought? Bitcoin miner Mara buys 400 Bitcoin after a historic crash. That's the right way to do it. When things are at discount, okay, especially Bitcoin, you want to load up, okay, because you know it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, even with Bitcoin falling to 107, was it really that scary? The alts, yeah, you could say pretty scary when you see something fall 50, 60% within minutes. But Bitcoin falling 10%, that's business as usual. We have seen that many, many, many times before. So people that loaded up or bought the dip or DCA'd, right? Congrats, because that's what you're supposed to do. It was a gift. It was a gift. But for people that got liquidated, that certainly wasn't a gift. Okay, 20 billion liquidated, although the actual numbers I'm hearing are a lot higher than that, more like 50 billion. It was the worst liquidation day ever in Bitcoin history. Not Bitcoin history, in crypto history. But the good news is, usually after a historic deleveraging event or a big liquidation event, what happens afterwards? usually after a big major wipeout, that's when the bull market starts. That's when a historic run to the upside happens. We have seen this a lot in the past. When you have a historic shakeout, the market makers, whales, the insiders, they clear everyone out, they buy the dip, and then they ride it to the top. We have seen that story time and time again. We are in the second week of October now. This is exactly the same time as last year when Bitcoin started finally bucking the downtrend and we went on a historic run. We're like right at that time too. And I remember October last year also started out pretty bad. I guess we'll see. And then we have another rate cut coming up later this month, right? That is also a big thing. We got a lot of things going on, guys. A lot of things going on. And these pesky CME gaps, I didn't even know there was one that we needed to fill or close, but we did. There's always these stupid CME gaps, okay, that we need to clear. I honestly think that and I shared it in my video yesterday, I don't think the guys who caused the crash saw or how big it was going to be. Maybe they just want to bring it down to fill the CME gap, right? But because of our friends at Binance, we saw a historic crash, one that we have never seen before in terms of liquidations. I honestly don't think that was the intent. Maybe the intent was just to fill the CME gap. And then, you know what? We saw something much worse. But again, like I said, usually after a big historic clear out or shakeout, you have a historic run, right? And you know, you actually have some signals. Coinbase premium is in the green. The Kimchi Signal, which is like looking at the the South Korean exchanges and their premiums, also in the green. Normally, when you see a lot of premiums in the green, that means retail is buying. So that could be something, especially South Korea. The traders in South Korea are nuts. Okay, they're nuts. The volume in South Korean exchanges are crazy. So that's why when you see this happen, usually that means something's going on, right? And like I said, you know, when you see these corrections, you shouldn't be scared because we have seen corrections like these all the time. This is the last cycle leading up to 64,000. You see that we had 21%, 20, 32, 25, 20. Then we had a 50% correction. And after a 50% correction, we had another 30% correction. And then while we were coming up, we have a 25% correction. We didn't have nearly as many or corrections as big as these this cycle. I think we had a 15% one a couple times, 10% one. You know, we just had a 10% one, whatever. We haven't seen some of these. I mean, it's been the tamest cycle so far. So we really shouldn't be panicking, especially when Bitcoin is above 100,000. But second of all, the point is corrections are normal. Okay? The big boys want you out so they can acquire more. So whatever you sell, just think about it. Who are you selling to? You're selling to someone that wants to buy it from you, right? And it's usually these large whales or now institutions, market makers, whoever. And look at what usually happens after a big correction. You have a big move to the upside. You don't have a continuous downside. You just have a move to the upside, especially during bull markets, right? Like right now. So this is where we are, right? Even after the dip, doesn't really seem like a whole lot of change. We're still on an upwards trajectory. We're still waiting for that next leg, that move upwards. That's it. That's it. You just got to stay strong, stay focused, and continue to do what you're doing, and that's holding and DCAing. That's it. And you wait. You let the gains come to you. Look at the Q4 of 2024. Like I said, it wasn't until like the second or third week of October before we moved up. But before then, you could see we went like 8 months, 9 months of basically sideways or downward trending. That was just last year. A lot of you guys forgot about it. We didn't go up to 100-something thousand until October, November, December. And the same thing in Q4 2023. We didn't move up until like mid-October. Then we started going up, right? That's why they call it October. But what's even better is November is a better month for Bitcoin than even October. You call it Pumpvember. So that's coming. That's coming. All right. What else? Well, you know, thanks to our friends at Binance, we know that we got a historic buying opportunity. But, you know, they said, you know, we screwed up. A lot of people, you know, they experienced some problems on our exchange, right? Prices weren't right. People weren't able to trade. So we're going to roll out a $283 million payment after this whole controversy, right? Which is better than nothing. So some people will be getting a refund. But, you know, I argue 20 billion is higher than 283 million. I'll just leave it at that. What else? BNB coin is still doing well. It held pretty well, or at least it recovered very well during the downtrend, and it hit a new all-time high at 1357 recently before selling back down. I think it's like 1200 now, but still it's pretty darn high. So good for them. And you know what? Trump is still considering whether or not he should pardon CZ. Even though he served his time, if he pardons him, he no longer has the felon charge, and he could conduct business in the U.S., which means maybe Binance will be coming back to the U.S. outside of Binance, the U.S. Who knows? I'll let you guys ponder on that. And then lastly, has nothing to do with Binance. Ethereum Foundation launches a new fund for privacy-focused developers. In case some of you guys are wondering why Zcash pumped up recently, I think it's due to this renewed interest in privacy coins and privacy features, especially for Ethereum. So that's probably the reason. All right, that is pretty much it. Let's see. Today, still pretty green. MicroStrategy not in the green. Coinbase barely in the green. So Wall Street's still not quite sure about crypto right now. Robinhood is slightly up. AMD is up. Broadcom is up. You know, anything that touches OpenAI is going to do well. So Broadcom announced something today. Outside of that, Bitcoin and the rest of crypto still recovering from Friday. Same thing with Clash. Clash is holding strong at 40 million, but we did experience some huge whale dumping because of what happened on Friday. And we went down even to like 19 million. But since then, community remains strong and we're back to 40. So good for it. Clash community is the strongest. One of the strongest in this space. And then I did replace... I've been telling you guys about this website. It's still work in progress, but I replaced that giveaway form with a website. A lot of people didn't like the giveaway forms because they're like, oh, I need to input my Google account. You know, like, okay. But anyways, it's in here. You just need to enter your wallet. And then I have this brand new wheel that makes things so much easier. So I don't have to copy and paste. I don't worry about like the wheel breaking and all that stuff. All right, we'll do some giveaways after Q&A. What happened to Solana ETF? Wasn't the Friday approval? I think because the government shutdown, they delayed it. I haven't heard anything like a delay or anything. I think it was just because everything shut down and they had to delay it. Gerard, I'm not even going to say that. I think what you're putting is like some kind of scam. So people don't go to that. Perry, do you play the Monopoly game at McDonald's? When was the last time they had a Monopoly game? That was like 20 years ago, man. And then they caught like people like cheating because the guy who produced the game or the guy who produced the cards from the printing company, he took all the good pieces and gave it to his friends and relatives. Is that what you're referring to, Perry? There was a whole documentary about that. Oh, it's back? I'm really surprised they brought that back because that was a big controversial thing. Like all the big winners went to the family members or friends of that guy. You had to do it through the app. Okay, you know they just opened a brand new McDonald's right next to me too, so I may play it. I guess I don't know. I don't eat at McDonald's all that often, but you know I went. You know it's so weird. People on X is just like, you know, like sometimes I just hate people on X. So I went into a brand new McDonald's and they were giving out free fries. Basically, you get a lifetime or a year of fries if you're like one of the first customers. So I went there and got it because my wife wanted to get it. And I tweeted out, I'm like, hey, I'm waiting in line to get this free coupon for fries for a year. You would not believe how many people chimed in negative comments like, oh, it's the worst food in history. Oh, why are you supporting that company? Oh, why are you in a McDonald's? Like, I'm just like, shut the F up, guys. You guys get off your high horses. I don't believe that you guys never ate McDonald's before. And blah, blah. Like, you know what? That's why sometimes I just really hate X. You just have the worst, miserable people living on X, right? Living their bubble. And you know, these guys are probably just like losers sitting in their basements with nothing but hate. Gerard, there are ways to promote without sending super chats and looking scammy. Okay, so if it's a legit project, congrats. But you know, sending like URLs to super chat, not the way to do it. I don't like McDonald's burgers at all. I think they don't have any good burgers. Wendy's burgers by far is the best fast food burger. There are chains that are like more like a little bit higher. But like I used to think Burger King Whoppers were the best. Now that I've had Wendy's a lot, it's way better than Whoppers. Burger King burgers are not that good anymore, but they're still better compared to McDonald's burgers. But McDonald's breakfast is really good. Their iced coffee is really good. Their new like crispy chicken sandwiches are really good, but their burgers really suck. People love their fries. I'm neutral on their fries. Burger King definitely has better burgers, and they have more variety. They have that vegan burger if you're a vegan person. They have, they have a variety of burgers, the Rodeo Whoppers, Triple Whoppers, all these Whoppers. But honestly, Wendy's is the best. Wendy burgers just taste a lot better. It's not as dry, too. Burger King burgers and McDonald's burgers are like super dry. if you didn't have the condiments or anything, you just ate the burger patty, it's like, it's not even like a burger. Wendy's patties are like thicker, juicier, it just tastes better. Greg is trying to change the subject. Cybertruck rocks, but what do you think about Elon? He's tanking sales. You got to give an example. He's been tanking sales for a long time. Okay, things are getting a little better. Coinbase up 1%, Robinhood up 1%, Nvidia up 3%, AMD, CEG. Man, I bought some more Robinhood and Nvidia on Friday. I wanted to buy AMD, but I thought maybe it'll go down more. And I want to get into this CEG. I realize stocks are just so much easier to pick than crypto. With stocks, you just buy leaders. That's it. Because the leaders will continue to do well. Do I use any yield farming sites? No. No, I don't do any of that. You could natively stake, you know, like in exchanges or on your wallets, right? If that's what you're referring to. If you're talking about like going to Aave or Compound, you know, or Lido, no, I don't do any of that. Who's backing you on your coin? Myself and myself only. That's why no one else still talks about Clash. I'm the only one that's backing it. I've shared it with a few people and they're like, hey, good job. But it seems like we're in a weird spot where it's too big for the meme traders because they always want to get something that's like 1 million or sub million. So meme traders are ignoring it because we're already too big. And then the other KOLs and influencers, they don't want to talk about it because they think they're just helping me get bigger. So we're like in a weird spot. But you know what? We're going to keep pushing. This is an example of some of the top meme coins in Solana. And this is just showing the holders. Okay, and Clash is down here. Look at from like September till now. Look at the difference between holders. Popcat, constant down. Whiff, constant down. Giga, constant down. Fartcoin was constant down until recently. Mog, same thing. Turbo, up. But Peanut has been constant down. And look at Clash, right? So this is how you could tell if a community is strong or growing or basically dying, right? So Clash, despite all the up and downs, the whales taking profit, what we just went through on Friday and Saturday, the community remains super, super strong. It really just depends on the holders. I'm actually really surprised to see like someone like Fartcoin go up a lot after Friday. People are like pouncing on it, which is kind of weird. Turbo is really surprising that it's still in the uptrend, although they're nice guys. They joined our tournament a couple times, two weeks in a row. All right, we're getting more momentum. And we got added on Phoenix on Friday, so that's good. I know a lot of people still refuse to use a Phantom wallet or go on a DEX like Jupiter. Those are still the easiest. Phantom swap within, the easiest. But if you have to use a SEX, Clash is on Phoenix, MEXC, LBank, WEX. But their liquidity ain't the greatest. I think Phoenix is straight from our liquidity pool, so it should be okay. It's all timing. It's all timing, guys. When it comes to memes or community coins, it's really due to timing and then obviously the growing community. But I think we have something better because we have this thing that bonds us together, the game and the tournaments and my reputation, which is very different than all these other projects which have anonymous devs, anonymous founders. No one knows who they are. And that's a big difference. Wonder who caused the dip. I don't think we'll ever know. But I just don't think they actually thought that it was going to go down that much. I think they wanted to bring it down. That's why you had a lot of people throw out shorts right beforehand. But we had a bigger dip than anyone expected. Barron Trump, maybe he's the one. People are saying he is making hundreds of millions of dollars through crypto trades, through World Liberty Financial, through Trump Coin, through whatever else that they have their hands in. He's at that age too. Could Clash hold Madden or FIFA tournaments? Well, it wouldn't make sense. It could. But, you know, the project is called George Plays Clash Royale. But people have asked me, you know, can you expand to other games? Sure, if the project gets big enough, we could host tournaments for anything, right? But right now, it's based on the very popular game, Clash Royale. But there's others, obviously, we can expand to later on. Battlefield 6. A lot of people talk about Battlefield 6. I've never played it, but, you know, who knows? Who knows? But we've launched this the right way, without any cabals, without any insiders, no KOL pushes, just me and the community. We've done this the right way. We have withstood some major selling. And if the market conditions improve, and we continue to do what we're doing, which is grow and host bigger tournaments and giveaways, there's nothing stopping this project. Nothing. Hopefully Sol also gets stronger. That will make a big difference. Sol right now is being a little weak right now because I think a lot of momentum went to BNB. But if it flips back to Sol, which I think it will, that's going to help tremendously too. Tiago, can we get Clash to $1? I don't think it could get to $1. That would be crazy. Okay. Getting to 1 set would be, maybe 1 set would be 100 million. Getting it to 10 cents would be $1 billion. Getting to $1 would be 100 billion. That's not going to happen. I don't think we're going to go to 100 billion. But can we get to $1 billion? Yes. I think that's a real possibility. Some of these others that I've shown here was at $1 billion. I remember when Giga Chad was getting hot. It got to like 850, 900 million back in January. You know, some of these, again, during the right time, just blow up, even though they don't really have anything other than community, which is fine. I mean, look at Shiba, Bonk, these big guys, Pepe. All they have is community, which is fine. I'm not dissing on just having community, but we have something more, you know? I think we have a leg up on everyone. Link, Chainlink fell down to $14.90, no, $15. Man, so many of these, like Sui went down to $2. Oof. If you're going to trade, make sure you learn how to trade. That's why I've been talking my last few videos over the weekend. I've been talking about boot camp. right? In Discord, you could join bootcamp. We have it like every few weeks. That's where you learn the fundamentals of trading and know how to set stop losses and look for signs. So I do recommend it. I know we had a lot more people join recently. Highly recommended for people that just want to learn, and it's free to do. Okay, I misspoke. I mean, 10 cents, not 1 cent, 10 cents. 10 cents would be 100 million. $1 would be 1 billion. Okay, so going back to Tiago, I missed a zero. So $1 would be at 1 billion. So yeah, that's certainly doable. I misremembered a decimal point. You can see the total supply right here. 1 billion. 1 billion. That's locked. That's a set supply. You can't inflate it more. The pool's locked. Sui dropped to 50 cents at your exchange. They must not have any liquidity. You know, again, most of this happened, right, is because all these exchanges had basically their funds cut off. Most exchanges don't have that much liquidity, so they borrow it from big exchanges like Binance. And all of a sudden, Binance is like, no, we're going to cut you off. That caused a huge panic with all these exchanges because now they can't cover these shorts or longs. So that's why you saw like auto deleveraging everywhere, and then people just got liquidated, you know, and all this bad stuff happened. And then obviously people on exchanges are like, what the hell is going on? And they just try to sell and they can't. They keep see dropping and they're like, sell, 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 sell. And then like, it just all compounded. Clark said, how is it legal for exchanges to close like that during these times? That's the thing. It's like, it shouldn't be, but Binance doesn't operate in the U.S. I don't know where they operate. I don't even think they have a headquarters. So, first of all, I think no one knows where they are. Second of all, I feel like because they like, you know, they had a deal made with the U.S. basically, with Department of Justice, SEC, CFTC, and wherever else. I feel like they have a free pass or something, or no one's going to go after them anymore. Like, that's kind of how I feel. Drake, and you think they should outlaw leverage or limit it? They should limit it. Okay, where like, you know, in the options world, like at least on Schwab is like this. There's different type of leverage, and you have to like opt into them. You don't automatically get to play options. I think for leverage, it should be the same thing. Like, okay, they allow 5 to 10x, but if you want to unlock 20 or 50x, you have to go through something. And if you want to unlock 100x, you have to unlock it, right? Because I was in a spaces and people talked. This one person talked about, oh, you know, it's a free market. Anyone should do whatever they want. Great. until they're manipulated, and then they lose all their money. Then they complain, right? So I think there needs to be a lot more education, but also there's some rules so that the market makers can't just liquidate people out of the blue when no one did anything wrong. There is no scenario where I think anything above 50x is responsible. Like, there's people that talk about they throw 100 long, 125, 150, 300x. You're just throwing your money in the toilet. You might as well just burn your money or throw in the toilet and do it. You're not going to win. 99.99% of the time, it will move against you and you will lose it instantly if you're throwing that kind of leverage around. So I think there needs to be something. I think a lot of people's stop loss didn't even trigger on Friday, and it blew through it. You know, sometimes that happens. People say, well, you know, my stop loss didn't even hit. Sometimes that happens with these exchanges. I think that's why Binance is giving out this. I don't hear about any other exchange giving it out because they can't afford it. But there was a lot of issues going on Friday. A lot of issues. This is what happens when you have a whole bunch of people panicking. But you know what? On the flip side, sometimes you have a whole bunch of people FOMOing, and no one complains about that. When things are going up to the moon, of course, no one complains. So, you know. Jizzly says, yeah, mine didn't trigger. That's why my portfolio lost more weight than a towel. How much weight did she lose? I know she was pretty, let's just say pretty full back in the day. I don't know what she looks like now, but she has a beautiful voice. Yeah, now when I play with leverage, I just do 3x. And now I'm even more careful down to 2x. But, you know, even 2x on Friday would have been liquidated. Other than Bitcoin, everything else basically would have been liquidated. There's still risk. So be careful. But yeah, people that are playing higher, like 5, 10x, 20x, you just got to really know what you're doing. Don't blindly do it because, you know, it's just gambling. And people that go with like 50, 100x, you're just waiting to get liquidated. You're just really burning your money and making the exchanges make a lot of money. Yeah, I don't think you get liquidated 1x. You could do a 1x on the future exchange. 1x, you can't really lose money. I mean, you could lose money, you can't get liquidated unless it goes down like 99%. Can I do another top 100 video? Probably not. I know I used to do them, but right now I just don't feel like it's the right time. The winners are basically in the top 20 and everyone else has not moved. And I'm not sure everyone in the top 100 is going to reach their 2021 high. Right now, it's just the winners that are winning. Everyone else is kind of like doing nothing. All right. On that note, let's do a few giveaways to the Clash community. I have pinned to the live chat and I have it in my description. We used to use a form like this, right? That was very time consuming and the wheel didn't work. So now we have a nice page. And the new website is called georgeplaysclashroyale.com. It's not fully done, but the tournament links will be in here now. The giveaway form is here. How to buy instructions is here, but all joining Discord link is in here. Everything is in here. And basically, it's just really easy. You put in a wallet address, and that's it. And then here, I could fetch the latest entries, which actually went up by a lot, 40 something. And then I could spin it and boom, it could auto check the wallets. And if you meet the requirement, you win some free soul. All right, so I'll select 3 today because Clash is doing well. Clash community, I'm telling you, is strong. We ate up those dips like nothing. I'll select 3 that are winning 0.3 soul each. So that's about 1. All right. So let's see. Let's do the first spin. Look how cool this is. Just does it. Just does it. And it puts it down there. All right. First winner has 10,000. Congrats. 0.3 winner. Let's do one more. This person has a minimum requirement, 2001. It works. Congrats. Second winner. And this person has 10,192. All right. So you see how fast that was before I had to like check and all that stuff. No need to do that anymore. It's automatic. Automatic. All right. So these 3, congrats. You are the winners for today. And I do more at night when I stream gameplay. And we also have a new treasury link, which I'm not going to show now. I'll show it at nighttime. But yeah, we'll keep pushing, guys. These tournaments starting to spread around. A lot of semi-pros, pros are joining. So I'm trying to utilize them to bring more attention and get their ideas. All right. Well, that's it for today. Today looks like it's a good recovery day. Not a full recovery, but like a halfway one, right? So it's a start. It's a start. Smart money bought the dip. Did you buy the dip? So, all right, let's see how the rest of the week goes. I will see you guys tonight. I'll put out a usual video, and I'll be streaming Clash as well. All right, all the information in the description of this video. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, guys. Take care.